Hey guys, welcome back to another NFL video, and today on Sports Stuff, we'll be talking about the Denver Broncos and their offseason plan that I have laid out for them. If you guys do enjoy these NFL videos, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell when you do subscribe so you can get notified when I upload new content. All my links are in the description. That's Twitter, Twitch, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. I just finished streaming actually on Twitch. It is currently 1 a.m. I just finished streaming. I want to get this video up as soon as possible. If you guys do want to see Valorant, Minecraft, CSGO, Rocket League, Call of Duty, any video game to be honest with you, head over to my Twitch. You'll see me 2 hours or 3 hours a day. I'm trying to get affiliate to make some money, but you know, it's okay. We're still vibing, even if we don't get affiliate. I'm still vibing over on Twitch. Let's get into this Denver Broncos offseason plan. They hired GM Mike George Patton, the VP player of personnel, and he was assistant GM. I believe it was with the Vikings. It was the Vikings, yes. John Elway took on a new role. He let go of the GM position. He's now, I believe, like something that he has no power, but he still has a title. He has experience in all front office roles. This roster, I guess, in this front office that's only had John Elway making the calls. Now they have George Patton, who has experience in all facets of the front office. He's good at scouting. He's good at the salary cap. He's good at making trades, and he's good with players and coaches, which is gonna be awesome, especially if they're looking for either a new coach and quarterback or just a new quarterback. He has 14 seasons in Minnesota, very long tenured. He went to playoffs 3 of the last 6 years as the assistant GM, and he's built a competent defense that, when everyone is healthy, is a top 10 defense. So I'm excited for the future of the Broncos, especially because defense right now is their forte. Don't know about the future, but I'm excited to see what they can do with George Patton at GM. Offseason moves, aka internal pending free agents. So this is their salary cap. I was actually able to save $33 million if they do what I do. You could save 15.2 million if you don't trade Von Miller. Here's why I would trade Von Miller. His best days are definitely behind him as they enter rebuild. You can get the most value for Von Miller right now, like this offseason. You get the most value. It is a team option, so they can pick it up and then trade him. Or if they wanted to, they could just not pick up the team option and let him become a free agent. I don't think they will. They're not in the negative in salary cap. I believe they're somewhere around 30 million, 25 million. So like there's no reason to not pick it up. You have the money to. Um Especially if they do want to try and make a quick rebuild within the next year, which I don't think is possible with this team. I would trade him for anything. Uh I just think it'd be best for Von Miller in his career. Jarrell Casey is not worth his production at that price. You could save $12 million by cutting Jarrell Casey. You trade for him last offseason for, I believe, a 7th round pick. He's given you around that production that last season. Bryce Callahan was a failed signing. He's been injured the entire tenure of his Broncos career. Signed for the Chicago Bears after a really good season in 2018. 2019 was injured. 2020 was injured. I don't think he's. I genuinely be. I would be shocked if his stats say he's played a full 5 or 6 game slate. I'd be very shocked if it does say that he has. And Mike Purcell hasn't produced and can spend it elsewhere. You don't have to cut Mike Purcell, but you could save you 3.2 million. I did because I was trying to be very stingy. Everyone after Mike Purcell was 1 million saved. I don't think it's really worth it. Um, I think especially with these veterans, because all of these guys are over the age of 28. Um, with all these draft picks you have, you're gonna want to sign your free agents that are young and all your draft picks for the next couple of years. I think it'd be smart to move on for your veterans right now and just build to the draft for the next couple of seasons. But again, if they don't want to trade Von Miller, you still have 15.2 million saved, which could basically cover Von Miller's team option, which was $18 million. So if you don't want to cut him, you don't have to. But I would trade him. The first free agents is Justin Simmons at free safety. His 2020 stats were 96 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 9 pass deflections. He's one of the best safeties in the league, not just a young safety. He's one of the best safeties in this league. He's coming off the franchise tag from last season after he wanted a really big extension. They didn't give it to him, so he could be a little mad about that still. You haven't been able to get a deal done all season. You may have to tag him again, which would make him very upset. I wouldn't. I just give him whatever he wants for 4 mil, for 4 years. He's 27. He's gonna start hitting that he's in his prime right now. He's gonna start going towards his cliff of his prime. I think he'll always be a good safety, but this is definitely the best time to re-sign him. I give him a 4-year deal. Keep him in that secondary for as long as possible. He's the only stable guy in that secondary. The corners are not, the corners are pretty weak. Justin Simmons is the only reason the secondary could still be called the Mile High Club. Um, But it's very interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. He could still be pissed about the franchise tag last season, and no deal done as of yet. So if he doesn't want to come back and you franchise tag him, I think that'd be not beneficial. I think he'd be mad and waiting to probably hold out. But I would sign him to as long and as big of a contract as Justin Simmons wants. He's the only member of your secondary I'd keep after 2 years from now. You know, I would re-sign him. 4-year deal. Give him what he wants. Shelby Harris at defensive end. His 2020 stats in only 11 games. He started all 11 games, by the way. Is 2.5 sacks, 7 pass deflections, an interception, 32 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 11 QB hits. He adds a veteran presence to his defensive line that is going to be going through a very big reshaping in the next couple of seasons. He had a really quality season. I think if he had played all 16 games, I think he could have probably touched around 4 sacks, probably 10 pass deflections, maybe hit 50 tackles, and could have hit 15 QB hits. It was an injury-riddled season for him. It's still a great season. Like, it was still a great season, but he could have had an even better season and gotten even more of a big deal. If he would have played all 16 games, I probably would have given him a 2-year, 3-year deal. But he is 30. He did give this production. I give him a 1-year deal, return to this defensive line, this defensive system that has given him one of his best years of his career. Philip Lindsay at running back. His 2020 stats are 500 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, this isn't production on this year. This is because of the last 2 years of production. He's been injured every other game, it feels like, this season. He came off of back-to-back seasons of 1,000 yards or more, and I believe 7 touchdowns or more each season. He's a bell cow running back when healthy. With next to Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay is more of a elusive and receiving back, and Melvin Gordon is your punch you in the throat, get a hard 3 yards. Philip Lindsay is your get the 8, get the 9 that are really go on screens, jet sweeps. And then Melvin Gordon is your inside zone, your punch you in the mouth running back. I think that's a really good 1-2 punch for this team. I give him a 3-year deal. He was an undrafted rookie and came into the career, rushing for like 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think he can still provide that. So I'd resign to a 3-year deal, keep him locked up with this young offense. Offseason moves, aka outside signing free agents and trades. Matt Skura is a center from Baltimore. His 2020 stats are 1 sack allowed with a 50 PFF grade, which is not that good. It's not that good for center position. He lost his starting job to Macari, and he had a terrible injury last season. He tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL all in the same game. It was a terrible injury. He came off it, still struggled last season. He could be the final piece of this offensive line. Garrett Bowles had an all-pro season at left tackle. Got Dalton Reisner at left guard. I believe it's Elijah Wilkinson or a veteran. I think it's like a 31-year-old right guard, and then Juwan Jones, I think his name is. I was thinking about cutting him, but you'd actually lose money. I don't know about trading, but you can't cut your right tackle. So if you can just keep him, sign Matt Skura. I think this could finish your O-line. I give him a 2-year deal. Pretty cheap. I want to go too big on the contract. He's coming off of probably his worst season as a starter. He even lost his job to Patrick Macari, who had actually filled in for him last season in 2019 when he tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL. Leonard Williams, this is the really big free agent they should sign, is defensive end from the New York Giants. His 2020 stats were 11.5 sacks, 57 tackles, 14 TFLs, 30 QB hits, and a pass deflection. He's one of the best D linemen in the league. He's only 27, so he's young. You have the money to overpay for him, and especially if you let go of Jarrell Casey, I'd move all of that money to Leonard Williams and some. I'd give him a 5-year deal. Like, he's genuinely one of the best defensive linemen in the league. He really is. Once he got traded from the Jets to the Giants last year, it really saw an upswing in production. They couldn't get a deal done last offseason with the Giants. I don't know if he wants to be there long term. They franchise tagged him last year. I think he's going to get a really big deal no matter where he goes. So I would overpay for him as much as possible. Get him next to Bradley Chubb. Get him next to who's a nose tackle? The nose tackle. I can't remember his name. He's like a 23-year-old. Can't remember his name. But get him next to Shelby Harris. I think Leonard Williams could be insane in this defense, especially the scheme that Chuck Pagano is running. Mike Hilton, corner from Pittsburgh. His 2020 stats were 3 interceptions, 7 pass deflections, a forced fumble, 52 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. He's a starting level outside corner. Steelers have no money. Like, literally, they're so far in the negative, especially with Big Ben's $40 million contract. He's going to have an average market. I think you could get him for, probably an average amount of money for a corner. He can replace Callahan, even though Callahan's more of a slot corner. Mike Hilton can play outside and slot, but I'd keep him at outside because Devontae Bosby is also a free agent, and I believe he was a starting corner in the outside. I think Mike Hilton is immediately a bigger threat in the passing game for opposing offenses. I give him a 3-year deal. I've been playing. I've been watching this guy play because I'm a Browns fan. I've been watching him play his entire career. Mike Hilton is an underrated corner when he is the second or third best corner on your team. He's so good. He's not a number one corner, but he's such a good number 2 or number 3. Especially if you want to draft a corner in the first round or the second round, I think this is best option to get that number 2 pairing. And honestly, trading Von Miller. His 2019 stats, because he was on IR for most of 2020, is 8 sacks, 46 tackles, 10 TFLs, and 20 QB hits. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, future Hall of Famer. Put some respect on his name. And he's a Super Bowl champion MVP. He helps teams pass rush, and he helps build and solidify culture that teams have. He's going to want to go, if he does get traded, he's going to want to go to a contender. So I think a second in the 2020, second, fourth. This is actually, I believe, in one of my earlier videos. I think it was the Lions, actually. I still think that value holds up no matter what team he goes to. I think a second and a future pick, that's going to be like, day 2, day 3. I think if it's a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick, you have to throw in multiple of those. So I just go a second and a 4th in the future. But yeah, I think Von Miller being traded would be, best for him and best for the team. Get a change of culture. I know Bradley Chubb and Von Miller were really hopeful that they could build something in Denver together, but Bradley Chubb was injured last year. Von Miller this year, I just don't. I think his best years are behind him, but he can still have value on the team where he's not the number 1 pass rusher. Like if he went to a Packers, let's say he goes to the Packers, you'd have the 2 Smiths brothers and Von Miller. You put one of those guys at defensive end, quote unquote defensive end, but still a linebacker. But I think it'd be stellar. The Packers, the Seahawks could use pass rush. Any of the AFC South teams, like the Titans, I think could trade for him. It'd be really interesting in his market. You could get a first maybe. I think it'd be a future first, but I think you could definitely get a first for Von Miller. But if you want to get him out quick to a good team, I think a second and a 4th would be good for him. So this is our draft. I was waiting to see which quarterback fell. And in this mock draft, it was Zach Wilson that fell. Justin Fields went number 2. Trevor Lawrence went number 1. And then linemen, wide receivers went at 3, 4, and 5. I said, hey, the Eagles either still have Carson Wentz or they have Jalen Hurts. Let me trade up to number 6. I'll send them my number 9 pick, my 3rd round pick, and my future 4th. They trade up 3 spots and draft Zach Wilson. Instantly becomes a GOAT for their team. I think that immediately makes him better as well at the quarterback position. I think it makes him better immediately as well at the cornerback position. Creed Humphrey at center. He can also play guard. So if you want to replace that veteran guard that is eluding my memory, I can't remember the right guard next to Juwan James. Who is that right guard? I can't remember his name. Dalton Reisner to the left guard. But Creed Humphrey can play guard as well. I'd swing him out to right guard and see what can happen. Jay Tufele, he is a better, he's a defensive lineman. He's really big. He's better in a 1-gap scheme. But if you want to play a 2-gap defense, he can play really good at nose tackle. Patrick Johnson from Tulane, I had him in my last draft. He's really climbing up my board. I think he's going to be a quick 40-yard dash, a big, tough puncher. Riley Cole, linebacker from South Alabama. I saw some report from the Draft Network that Riley Cole is rising up some boards. I thought, hey, I don't know anything about him, but I'm hearing his name more in the 5th round, 4th round now, so I'm gonna draft him. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the rest of these picks, Trey Norwood, Xavier Gaines, and Trey Dean III, I just picked for depth. I think if you let Will Parks and Kareem Jackson leave in free agency at safety, you're probably gonna have to draft someone, or you can move. You keep one of those guys. I think Will Parks or Kareem Jackson, one of them are not a free agent this season. I think they are next season. So you get 2 depth pieces for one behind Justin Simmons, one behind Kareem Jackson, and then Xavier Gaines just can be a depth. Jake Butt is actually a free agent, and I decided not to re-sign him because he brings little to no value. So I thought, hey, just draft a guy, in the 7th round and see what happens. But if you guys did enjoy it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, all my links in the description. Comment down below. Drew Lock has a horse. Bleep. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Peace. Bye.